Let me do this because of time. This day is, the day itself is a nice day, of course, just a day. But the act that happened Friday and then completed today was amazing. And um, Christ came, the Father saw that human beings were stuck in hell, that they were owned by the devil. There was no way out. Zero. At first, they were trying to keep the letter of the law, the Ten Commandments that he talked about, and no one was able to do it, except maybe one guy, I think. But no woman was able to do it. Sorry, ladies. They looked all up and down the earth, around the earth, and for the flat earth, up and down the earth, they couldn't find one holy woman. Sorry. But, and so Christ, God knew that there was no way out for the people, right? And so he decided, I love these people. They can't help themselves. They're living in hell. And so I'm going to create a son, my own son, who is not guilty of anything. He's done nothing wrong. And I'm going to send him down there so Satan can take him into hell, because Satan did not deserve to take Christ into hell. He deserved to take everybody else. He had the right over everybody else because everybody else was sinning. They had done wrong. But Christ had not done anything wrong. And so he came down and he walked around, and those people who could recognize him, they woke up. Those who didn't, they stayed asleep. And so finally, long story short, it was time for Satan to take Christ into hell. And so, and going into hell for Christ, it wasn't an easy thing to do. But he knew he had to do it. But it wasn't an easy thing to do it. I'll tell you why in a minute. But he did it. And when he went, he bought all of us back. Now God owns us, and the devil does not own us anymore. And while being there, all sins were wiped away. And so when you were born innocent. You were not born a sinner. You were born innocent. You had no sins. Because all your sins have been washed away. God said, okay, the slate is clean. You're all free to live as my children. But then, and so when he sent his son, even though everybody was sinners, he did not condemn you. He didn't say, oh, look at those old nasty sinners. Look at this alcoholic, a horrible person. Look at the bum on the street, a horrible person. He had none of those ideas at all. And the reason he didn't have those ideas, because he knew that the human beings were filled with evil. They were cursed by sin and controlled by the devil. They had the nature of the devil, who was every vile thing that you can think of. And that he controlled them. And he controlled their mind and emotions. And he was in charge of, that's why the people couldn't do the right thing, because they were not in control of themselves. As it is today, there's not one human being on this earth who is in control of themselves. And there's not one human being on this earth who can control themselves. And if you knew that, you would never condemn another person, nor yourself, because you're not in control of anything. You were never condemned by God. He condemned the spirit of hell that was in you, and not you. You're not your body, you're not your thoughts, you're not your emotions. They are not you at all. There is no you. There is a you, but when all the fake yous disappear, the real you will appear, and it will be amazing. You're going to be stunned at the real you. And Christ came, and because we were born through families who are in hell already, every human being hate their mothers and yearn for their fathers. And so the way you were born into sin, you were born through an angry woman. She had anger. She hated God. She hated the children. She hated the daddy of the children. She hated herself. Women have no love. Zero love. They only have hate because Satan is their God, right? And so she destroys. Your mother is your enemy. And it's not her, but it's, it's like, the mother's like, and the son is like, your mother is your enemy. But let me be clear. It's not your mother that's the enemy. It's the spirit of evil that's made a home in the mother. Passed down from Eve. It's in every woman. And the woman is the gateway to hell. Hell comes through the woman. And any man that has anger is a woman. Sorry, buddy. Any man that has anger is a woman. It's not your normal nature. And any woman that has anger is living an abnormal nature too. That's not your true nature. That is the nature of your mother, which is the nature of the devil, right? And so Christ came and everything is cleared up. Christ is not God, he is our brother. As a matter of fact, when you read John 5:25, read that whole little thing. Christ talks about my Father's doing this work through me. It's not me. My Father tell me what to do. My Father works through me. I have nothing to do with this. My Father tell me when to judge and when not to judge. I have nothing to do with this. It's my Father working through me. Christ made that really clear. It's his Father working through you. And to make long story short, until you are born again of the nature of the Father, your father, the devil, is making you think and feel and do everything that you're doing. It's not you. It's your father, the devil. And I want to urge you, do what you want, but you got to stop calling the devil you. There is no you. Because every time you say, I am angry, it's human nature to be angry. You are worshiping the devil and you're one with him. And there's no way out. But when you start to see that you are not angry, yes, there's this feeling of anger inside of you because you believe the thought and you overreact, but it's not you. When you stop calling it you, especially when you go and forgive your mothers and your father, forgive mama for recreating you into her hell, and forgive your father for not protecting you from mama, because he never got over his hell, which was from his mama. And the woman he made the baby with is mama. He made a baby with mama, and the hell continues because you're attracted to what you hate. And so you are controlled by evil in your mind, emotions, and body. It's not you. You're being controlled. You have never made a decision in life. The bank robber did not decide to rob the bank. He didn't just wake up one day and say, let me go rob a bank. I have nothing else to do. He was influenced to rob the bank. He was influenced to do it. And when you start, it's like when you're walking out on the street, you see the bombs on the street, you are influenced to see them in a negative, evil way. You're condemning them. But it's not you, but it's the spirit of evil and all his little demons that made a home in you. It's making you do that, but you say you do it. And so you identify with it. It's not you. And anyone that has anger is dead. Their eyes are open, they're breathing, but they're dead. Spiritually, they're dead. They're walking up and down the road. They eat breakfast. They work out at the gym, but they're dead. Because anger, ego is death. It is not life. Anyone that thinks they're in charge of their life is dead. Anyone that feels good or bad about themselves is dead. Anyone that has fear is dead, because fear is the nature of the devil. Fear is the devil, and if you have, fear is the devil. If you have fear, you're the devil. You are the devil. Fear is not of God. It's of the devil. And so I'm saying all that because, let me just add with this because of time. I'll see you real fast. When you die the ego death, really die it, meaning that you have died of all ideas and all thoughts. When you have, you're going to know when you have died because you're not going to have thoughts at all. Zero thought. You're just going to live your life, and life will happen naturally. And when people try to offend you or you run into a situation, you will have no opinion about the situation at all. You just go through it. It wouldn't even be a thought. You wouldn't think about it because there would be no thoughts. Anyone that think, except practical thoughts given to you by God, anyone that think is of their father the devil. You're of your father the devil when you think. Oh, I wonder what they're thinking about me. I wonder how I feel now. I wonder this and I wonder that, and I want this and I want that, and I this. You're of your father the devil, and you're dead. You're not alive. But when you died, I mentioned how it was tough for Christ. Dying the ego death is not easy. It is not easy. I can't tell you the number of people, men and women around the world, that are going through that ego death, and they're like, I want to stop. This is too rough. When would this end? There was a woman that called my office. I didn't get a chance to speak to her, but she going through the ego death. She said, I'm going to put myself into a mental hospital. I'm like, what? The ego death is rough. And there are people who come and they hear the word and they're like, oh yeah, that's nice. And they walk away from it. There are some who come and they start the word, they hear it, it makes sense, they turn away from it. There are even people who come and they start the ego death and it feels like it's too much, they walk away from it. But there are those one or two people that go all the way through the ego death. And the ego death is everything you think you are, you're not. Christ came so we can do that. And so when you deal with, once you die from yourself, you're going to deal with people with perfect love. You're going to love your enemy. And you will have no opinion about your enemy because you will understand. You will be able to see. And it will be impossible to have an opinion about yourself or anyone else because there is no you. This fake you is now gone so that you could be. And then Christ will be your brother, not your God. He will be your brother and not your God. Because people literally believe that Christ is their God. And Christ tells me, I'm your brother. I'm not your God. God sent me. Oh, and then once that, you know how Satan take over the mind, right? When you become angry, he controls you. Likewise, when you die from the ego death, you're going to be controlled by the Spirit of God. You want you to be in control of that. He will control you in the same way the devil has been controlling you, the Spirit, but it'll be of good. It will be of perfect love. But you must be born again, salvation of the heart. You must be born again first of that. You must forgive your mothers, every human being, man or woman, no matter how rich or how poor, how white or how black, how Jewish or how Palestinian or how whatever, right? You're not going to wake up at heart until you apologize for being angry. Anger is hatred. Anger is the nature of the devil. You're playing God. And I promise you, you can be free right here on earth. You can walk this earth and live this life in perfect peace when you wake up. You want to be conscious. You want the mind of God. Right now you have the mind of the devil. You have the mind of the devil. And as soon as you see it, as soon as you're able to see it, it's going to start changing. You're going to start see layers and layers and layers of identities you have picked up. You're none of those things. You have no morals and values. If you have morals and values, we'll have peace on earth. Nobody got no moral and value. They don't come from mama. They don't come from daddy. They come from God and God only. And that only happens when you forgive and then that old nature fade away. Otherwise, you don't have them. You can't learn their values. How you going to say, I love this person, but I hate this person? How you going to look at one person and smile and pretend you like them while in your head you're judging them? How is it that you can say hello to somebody when you really don't want to say hello? I don't want to sit next to this person. But you sit next to the person and put up a front. How is it that you have love when you go downtown because you want to have fun and meet people? That's for you, that's not for them. So I want to encourage you, because of time, here's what I recommend you do. You got to go through the ego death. It's not enough to just forgive. I can't say this part yet. Y'all just have to suffer. Because I'm about to ask you to give you the brand new biblical question for next week. The brand new biblical question. Oh, I want to finish, but we're out of time. What connects you with the physical world that you live in? You know, God said, be in the world, but not of it. The brand new biblical question is, what connects you with the physical world that you live in? I heard someone talking the other day, and they briefly said something like, I'm like, wow, that makes sense. What connects you? Because we got to overcome the world. You got to overcome the world. Amazing, huh? So I want to finish this off, and then last week, biblical question too, but we're just totally out of time. Did this help a little bit about the Easter thing? Today is a day of reflection. You know what? I can't believe how much hell God brought me out of already. I can't believe the things I used to think and do, and how I thought I was in control. That's what it means to fear the Lord, when you reflect and be grateful for the hell, even though you're not out of all your hell yet. At least some of the hell is better than all the hell that you had. So reflect and be grateful. It's not just a day for eggs. As someone says, it's for kids, it's a fun day, but it's still supposed to remind you of Christ. It's this outward way of reminding, right? But reflect and think about some of the hell you're out of, because you're not out of all your hell yet. You got to completely die in order to live. You cannot have any impression of yourself or anyone. I enjoy interviewing the female that thought she was a male, because I had literally, and I wasn't trying not to have any judgment. It's just, all that's going to be wiped. Judgment of yourself and others as the ego is dying, going to be wiped away from you. You will never be able to judge yourself again. But because I understood it was a spiritual thing, and she just didn't know. Just like we didn't know until we heard, hey, we need to wake up. We need to forgive. So here's what I recommend. Forgive your mothers. They couldn't help themselves. And forgive your father. He couldn't help himself. And then God will forgive you. I'm sorry for resenting you. I realize now you couldn't help yourself. That's the beginning. That's where salvation starts, in the heart. Christ made that possible because the Father sent him to do that. And likewise, when you die from that ego, the Father is going to work through you, and you're going to have paradise on earth. Nothing will get to you. Any questions about that? No. That makes sense? I'm sorry. Say it in the mic so they can hear.
Yes, it makes sense.
In what way does it make sense? Real fast.
Well, I just look at it like we can be free. Like, it's just overcoming the thoughts, the mind. And
yeah.
So I just look at it like Easter. I see like we're free. In reality, we're just free.
It's a bald-faced lie that you have to wait until you die and go to heaven and be free. You might not even go to heaven, because if you drop your body with anger, you're already in hell. You're going to stay in hell. I wouldn't want to take the risk to wait until I die. You can have it now. Eternal life right now. Yes, ma'am.
You just said it. We already have eternal life if
Yes.
we go through the death.
I'm
Right.
sorry?
If we go through the
If you
ego
go
death.
through the death.
Yes. So
You
that's
gotta
my
die.
questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Amazing.